Yeah, for sure. I did get a Switch capture card though, and I'm streaming Switch games on my Twitch now, which is pretty sweet.
Nice.
I'm doing some Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I'm playing through Pokemon Shield with my buddy Mike from Stevensville Gamers.
Gamers, yeah.
Stevensville Gamers, the cringiest gaming channel. We are doing that over on my Twitch. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that sounds great. How difficult was it to get the capture card working? Did it just like work just out of the box, or did you have to do any weird tinkering with it?
1 second. What did you say? Oh, okay, I need to get it out. Okay, I have to get the fire alarm down because I'm the only one tall enough, and it's going to be throughout the podcast if I don't. Give me a sec. Yeah. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Just wanted to make sure we sound okay. The fire alarm is low battery.
Yeah, as soon as you said fire alarm, I did hear that beep. I'm definitely familiar with that sound.
Yeah, I just don't want it all the way through the podcast. So thank you for pointing that out, babe. All right. But yeah, no, it was pretty easy to set up. Unfortunately, my laptop is being a little melty lately. I can't use it while it's charging, or it smells like burnt rubber. So I can only stream for about 3 hours at a time with the mic and everything plugged into my laptop. Yeah. But I'm going to order a new battery for it. I hope that's the problem.
Hopefully that'll help. What are you still getting like I imagine getting a new battery would make it to where your battery life would be improved. Or is your battery life okay, or is that something you need to fix as well?
It's pretty bad. I have like a thing where whenever I'm using electronics, I really like them to be plugged in unless they're near full battery. And I need to get over that because apparently that destroys your batteries. Like for the entire time I've owned this computer, pretty much, I've only used it when it's plugged in.
Yeah.
And that's apparently not very good for electronics. So,
well, if it's smelling like burnt rubber, then that's I don't need to tell you, but that's a problem.
Yeah, I deduced that. But yeah, you know what we're here for today.
Right, exactly.
The darkest timeline. Due to recent decisions by WotC, Gutshot is no longer a magic podcast. It is now a podcast on proper burrito folding style. Will, walk us through your technique.
Okay, so I have great technique. I've been complimented by my girlfriend about this before, and you know, I've been to Qdoba, I've been to Chipotle. I see how the pros do it. So, you know, the trick is that you need less filling. Don't overload your burrito with meat and rice and all that, you know, horse shit. You know, just put a little bit in there, just enough to get the flavor. Then you want to flip over, cup it all into one little part of the tortilla, and then flip over the sides and then roll it to its completeness. See, that's an amateur mistake. You overfill your burrito.
Yeah, See, I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy. I mean, I'm not meat. I'm a vegetarian. But I'm a very basic burrito folder. I fold one end of the tortilla in, and then I just roll the rest of it over it. And one of the ends is kind of spilling out, but that's okay because that's the end I'm going to bite first. I eat my burrito in under 3 minutes 100% of the time, and I don't really have to worry as much about it kind of bursting because if it bursts, I just take another bite where it opened.
Yeah, I think that's great technique. You know, I went to Chipotle once and they gave me a burrito, you know, wrapped in the foil. And for some inexplicable reason, there was an arrow written on it in Sharpie pointing to one like end of the burrito. And you know, sometimes I lay awake at night and I wonder, what was that arrow supposed to signify? Why was it there?
Classic Chipotle mistake. The foil adds flavor. You're supposed to eat it with the foil still on the burrito.
Oh, okay.
A little bit of blood in your mouth from the foil cutting you, that's an ancient Mexican technique. It's a spice that they add to food in your mouth.
Wow. This is, see, they are on another level than us at Chipotle for sure. When are we getting Secret Lair Chipotle? That's why I want to know. We're going to get food tokens with Chipotle burritos on them. We're going to get a line that goes all the way out the door as a basic land that taps for colorless.
Yeah, what dies grows the Qdoba goif. Yeah, weird that there was no news and magic this week.
Yeah, Magic is Magic's old news. We're not doing that anymore. But either way, welcome to Gutshot, the home of the spiciest MTG hot takes and spiciest burritos. I'm Will at Aggressive Rhetoric, and as always, I'm here with my boy Frederick.
I'm Frederick, aka War Crimes Uwu, a mechanically unique exclusive host of this podcast. Welcome to Gutshot.
Hey, miss it and it's gone. This is your only chance to hear this spicy content. Now, as I'm sure you all know what we're referencing here, there has been some pretty big news announced in Magic this week, and I'm not talking about the Euro ban. That's a whole nother thing. Maybe we can get to that in the future. But earlier this week,
doesn't matter. A dead game doesn't need a ban list.
That's a great point. I think you're spot on there. But this week, Magic the Gathering has announced the next installment of the Secret Lair, which is a massively successful direct to players initiative that Wizards has been doing, where you can order online a special shipment of select cards that will come to your door mailed 6 to 8 months later. That are special in some way, new art or a special frame or something like that. And we got a really special one this time. This is going to be a crossover with the very popular, especially in 2020, television show, The Walking Dead. This will be available. See, this is actually a little weird. It's available for longer than some of the other ones have been. You can actually order this anywhere between October 4th and October 12th. So that's like a week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this will be a collection of Magic cards that are branded with fan favorite characters from the television show, and we've had a few that have been spoiled so far. Maybe we could take a look at them here in a second, but here's the rub. These cards are for the first time that we've seen in Secret Lair. These cards are mechanically unique cards that are black border and are legal in eternal format. So that's going to be your legacy, vintage, and then all important commander. This is really unprecedented. And just like with all the other Secret Lairs, once the time limit for buying these goes away, you're not, you won't be able to buy them again. So, it's a very limited release. And the fact that these cards are, mechanically unique creates, it's a situation. So, Frederick, I want to get just right off the top. How do you feel about this? Are you excited for this?
No, I'm incredibly worried about this. I think it was a terrible idea. I have the pretty popular opinion on this one, I think. For our podcast, this is a fucking disaster. Like, all of these things are bad, and they could have done one bad thing at a time and seen how the players reacted to it. But instead, they did a Secret Lair that's $20 more expensive than any other one, with mechanical unique cards in black border, and it's a tie-in with another intellectual property that's has a different vibe than Magic. So I just don't understand. I can't imagine who's excited about this. I think even the people that are buying it are doing it for the purpose of just holding on to it because it's going to be worth money. I can't imagine that there's any other reason that people are buying it. I can't imagine the player who's excited that this exists. They didn't do the Godzilla thing where it's a real card that they just put the other name on top of. Why? I don't know. I might have some bias because the shittiest roommate I've ever had really liked Walking Dead.
Hey, well, you make a good point. This cost the MSRP is not the right term. This is going to cost $50 in US to buy this, which is a little bit more expensive than the other ones that we've seen. So I don't believe that this says that whether it's going to be in foil or not, but I assume that these cards will probably all be foil at a $50 price tag.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, they are. Does it mention that?
Yeah,
okay,
that's confirmed.
Okay, awesome. Then Yeah, $50 is a lot. We're used to like $30 to $40 for like small collections of cards. And, especially if they're one of each and not play sets of each, like we've seen with Thalia or the Lightning Bolt one. So it being a little bit more expensive, makes me wonder: is that because of the mechanically unique cards, and that they know that people are just going to be buying these, or a good amount of people are going to be buying these just because of the fear of missing out.
Yeah, it's good that none of these appear to be playable in any of the competitive formats they're legal in. Daryl and Glenn might be. Like, Daryl is, I guess he's like a shitty hate bearer that can be pitched to forcible, or like a shitty cheap creature that can be pitched to forcible, but I can't think of any deck that's going to play him. They're not legal in modern, just legacy and vintage, and commander, of course. But commander is a bad format, so I don't really care what happens to it.
Right.
Although this is a case where people are yelling at the Commander Rules Committee to ban all these cards in Commander when they come out, to sort of take a stand against what WotC's decided to do here, which I think would be the one cool thing that the Commander Rules Committee has ever done. But and next, abolish the Commander format. But Daryl, like, maybe could, if there's some reason you would want your opponent to have more creatures, there he might do something in Legacy. Like, there are cards you can never know what would be good in Legacy, like Kess Dissident Mage. Like, that
Right.
ended up seeing Legacy play, and that was like a cheesy 4-mana commander. Like, that's the example we're going off of. That card would feel right at home in the Secret Lair, so it worries me both that one of these cards could be at that power level without people immediately noticing it. This is a precedent that even if players get really mad about it, if this sells well enough, they will do it again, and every time they do it is another chance for something good enough to see Legacy or Vintage play.
So I am almost there with you on this take. I don't think the Magic should be doing this. I am against mechanically unique cards appearing in Secret Lair. And the Magic community is kind of going off the chain with this. They are really upset about this and making their voices heard, as you would do. I don't really feel that way. I don't in any way consider this to be the end of Magic, as I've seen some people put it. This doesn't make me want to quit Magic. It doesn't, make me worry about the health of the game. If anything, this kind of makes me feel better about the health of the game, because I think that opportunities for Magic to do this show that it has legs beyond us, the entrenched players who, are the most vocal about not wanting these in our game. And right off the bat, I'm just gonna let everybody know, I plan on buying one of these. There is a fear of missing out, and I just want to make sure that I have one. It's a very popular series. People are going to want them. If this is the only time that we see these cards, and I have the ability to buy them, it's only $50. I don't see why not. So I'm going to go ahead and get a set of this, even though I don't really agree with the idea of putting these mechanically unique cards in the Secret Lair.
Would do you give a shit about Walking Dead?
I actually used to be a big fan of Walking Dead. I have not seen the show or read the comics for a very long time. I don't know how familiar you are with The Walking Dead. I stopped watching the show around when Negan was introduced, and not so much because of the quality of the show, really more just other things going on in my life caused me to drop it. And from what I've seen, the show turn into since then, I haven't become super excited about getting back into it. It definitely seems to have taken a huge nosedive in quality, and I've read the comics up to a little bit past the Negan point. I used to be a big fan. Have you ever seen The Walking Dead?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched it when I lived with a dude who was like obsessed with it.
Oh, yeah.
That might be an unfair characterization. He was watching it at the time.
Right. One interesting thing about this is that just like 2 weeks ago, we got confirmation from Wizards that for the Zendikar Rising set would be the first set in the wild that would not include a mechanically unique card as a buy a box promo, and they have been doing that for quite a while since Dominaria, I think. And this is these are the promos that gave us fan favorites like Nexus of Fate and Kennereth the Returned King. It's almost like, we thought that they were deciding, hey, this isn't how we ought to do this, and we're gonna change our ways, but it turns out that it lasted for 2 weeks before we got something that was probably worse.
Yeah, to be honest, I think Kenrith the Return King, I could honestly see them not thinking that was very good. Like I looked at that card and I was like, oh, this is terrible. I put the 2 copies that I had from like my my collector's booster and my buy a box promo, and I just put them in a box somewhere. Like I didn't predict that card was going to be good, and as you know, we are better at predicting the cards are going to be good than Wizards of the Coast is. But these cards seem pretty safe, but I don't think it's even about the safety. There's so many independent issues about the Secret Lair that any one of them individually would be enough to make the Secret Lair a bad product.
Yeah, Kennereth was really broken by Fires of Invention, which was just 100% a mistake on its own, right?
Yeah.
The track record of the Buy a Box promos doesn't give me a lot of confidence in Wizards being able to create cards that are fine on their own, but don't impact formats they're legal in. We thought that everything would be okay with the Buy a Box promos because the first one, Fire Song and Sunspeaker, was clearly meant to just be, a fun, different type of commander, for commander play, and it was completely fine. But then the second one was Nexus of Fate, and I don't think that they designed that thinking it would see, like top tier standard play, and obviously it became a major player in those formats.
Enough to be banned.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So like, and then Kess, as you mentioned before, was just meant to be a commander card, but turned out to be a card that was legacy playable. So yeah, that worries me. I don't trust Wizards to be able to create cards and be like, oh, this is just for fun. You could play this in legacy, but like why? But why would you? Not a lot of faith there.
Yeah, no, me neither. Like it seems like a lot of just jank ends up in legacy on accident. The other thing about the Secret Lair is like it's so tonally inappropriate. There's no guns in it. Like I maybe thought that they would jump the shark in that way, but like Daryl has a crossbow that's like mechanical, and I think the worst offender is Negan. He's wearing a leather jacket. He's got a baseball bat with barbed wire around it, which I understand is important in the show. And I did a little research beforehand. Negan has done a lot of things on the show that I think would be deemed tonally inappropriate for Magic, including beating children to death with the baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire.
All right, so okay, spoilers for The Walking Dead. Yeah, if anyone cares in 2020. I don't know if this happened in the show, but I know in the comics there's a part where Negan burns a guy's face, like half of his face, with an iron, like a clothes iron, to disfigure him, and not really to like punish him or anything like that. It was to like mark him for some other reason. That is not very 13 plus in my opinion.
I don't know. I mean, we've gotten like macabre waltz and stuff, so
Sure.
It's hard for me to argue that, but it just seems tonally inappropriate. Like the amount of players of Magic who like Walking Dead and want it in Magic has got to be such a small subsection that how would they be worth pleasing versus the people you'd piss off by including this? Like I would use the example, like I've talked about this on the podcast before. Like if they made Fire Emblem Magic cards, I love both of those things. Fire Emblem is like one of my other passions. I can have a podcast about it, I think. But like I wouldn't want them together, and I am the biggest fan of both of those things. So who the fuck is this for?
I would actually disagree a little bit. I think it's fine to have a modern setting in Magic. Now, Magic hasn't done that yet. We have seen guns once in Portal Second Age. I don't think it would be that big a deal if Magic had like a future set, that was like high tech. I would actually really like to see that, and I don't think it's really incongruent with the overall flavor of Magic. We've spoken about this before, but Wizards did some internal testing about the idea of doing like a Neo Kamigawa that was very like cyberpunk and had like tech in it. Right, yeah, and I know you said you weren't a big fan of that, but I would like to see something like that. So yeah, it would be weird, but Magic can be whatever it wants to be. I mean, it's clearly wants to be a game that has The Walking Dead as a part of it. It would be a change for a lot of people. I understand if it would turn some people off, but I think Magic would still be a great game. I would not be turned off by a modern setting.
I would not like it. But if we're going to have a modern set, I would vastly prefer one that's set in and not a different IP that I don't care about.
Sure. Yeah. This is a weird terminology. If we use terminology like modern and future, those mean things in Magic. So
yeah.
It's weird saying modern meaning like guns and not like Tarmogoyf and Thoughtseize.
I just don't like it. I just think it's bad.
Well, here's the first question that I asked when I first saw this, and this was before we learned about the mechanically unique cards. Why The Walking Dead? The Walking Dead was super popular like 7-8 years ago. I believe it came out in 2010. But like no one's like the only people still like watching or caring about The Walking Dead are like the super hardcore fans. Like the show's peak was a couple of years ago. It's kind of weird that we're like hyping up The Walking Dead to be this huge thing when its ship has really sailed.
Yeah, from what I understand, it has a pretty huge cult following. Like there are people who really, really like it, so it's more an intensity of fan base than like a widespreadness that they were going for. And I think the same thing is true of like Godzilla, which was the last crossover. Like if they were trying to get one with mass appeal, I think they would have tried to land like a Game of Thrones Secret Lair or something.
Game of Thrones.
That's most recently important. I don't know. Like my head is up my own ass. I spend most of my time just playing like Nintendo games. And I don't know too much about pop culture outside of like politics.
Well, that's another good point. And I was thinking about this when we were talking about the $50 price tag. People who are in these like super like devoted but niche fan bases, they usually spend money, right? Like obviously Magic players are going to be interested in buying a Secret Lair that's about Magic, but we also need to think about the like Walking Dead fans who don't know anything about Magic, are also going to come in and buy this Secret Lair, knowing that you can only buy this during this set week. That's a very special thing for them to know that this is super limited. Only some people are going to get this. And a lot of people that are getting it don't even care about The Walking Dead. They're just, it's going to go in their collections and never see the light of the day to Walking Dead collectors. So I bet they're really banking on that to really get the numbers and the revenue up for this one.
Yeah, I think that's possible. I just don't know how big of a market share that is. Like who asked for this? Like even the players who are buying this would have preferred many other things to this, right? Like you're buying this, and there are a lot of things you would have preferred to this. And you are someone who was pretty big into Walking Dead when it was big, and is obviously very big in Magic. You have a pot.
Right, and I'm only buying this because I don't want to lose out on mechanically unique cards in the case, or on the chance that these cards will not be reprinted in any significant way in the future, just in case. And I understand a lot of people wouldn't agree with that, but it's kind of that's how I would like to see this product. I don't want to be left. I want to be left behind by a card I might need in the future.
Right, but if you don't buy it, they're less likely to do it in the future because it won't sell as well, and so you're preventing this thing that you don't like from happening more. That's my take, because if a bunch of people buy this because they want to miss out on the mechanically unique cards, you're showing Wizards of the Coast that you can get rubes to buy anything if you include mechanically unique cards, and now a couple years down the line, no one likes it, but we're all buying fucking Secret Lair Casey Anthony for the mechanically unique child murder removal spell.
Wow. Yeah, I think you have a good point there. I do not agree. I don't think boycotts and Magic work. It doesn't matter. How you spend your money does not matter to Wizard. Boycotts will not matter. Wizards does not care whether you specifically spend money or not. That's not the point. So I really don't think that me buying it or not's really going to mean anything to Wizards, and to act like it's going to, I think is a mistake. They just don't care because they're going to make money off this no matter what. And it's like, why not act in my best interest and get the cards that I think I'm going to need?
Because like if enough people don't buy it, it prevents the problem from being exacerbated. Like, yes, this is still going to exist, and it's going to be an unfortunate mark on the history of Magic, but it could be a one-off thing if enough people show Wizards of the Coast that it's kind of unacceptable.
That won't happen, though.
Okay, I don't know. I hope it will. And I mean, I've been seeing a lot of backlash for this. Like, even just the general backlash for Secret Lairs when they got announced pales in comparison to how people are reacting to this announcement. So I'm really hoping that I'm right about this, because I don't want to live in a world where every month there's mechanically unique cards themed around things I don't give a shit about that I have to buy directly from Wizards of the Coast, especially if they end up being cards that are necessary to remain competitive. I'm not going to buy Secret Lair Fuddruckers.
Well, let me ask you this. If you're playing in a competitive, sense, you're a spike, right? Spikes are, exemplified by the idea of you do anything you can to win. You and I are both entrenched Magic players. We play, at least nominally, at a competitive level. We are very much in tune with, if you want to win, you have to do what is necessary to win. I guess I would look at it like, if playing a Walking Dead Secret Lair card, gives me an edge in competitive format, I would want to take advantage of that, edge, regardless of what the flavor of the cards are. Could you see an argument like that? Does that argument speak to you at all?
No, honestly, I think this is bad. Full stop. I think no mechanical unique cards.
I think that is defensible.
Let me make my take spicier. Not just no mechanical unique cards in Secret Lairs, no mechanical unique cards. Only reprints forever now. Wizards of the Coast has proven that they don't know how to design cards. Hand it over to a third party to decide what cards are banned in whatever formats, and then those formats are the same forever. And Wizards of the Coast is only allowed to reprint cards.
You have a lot of people that agree with you, and honestly, I'm probably 75% of the way there. I think that's.
I'm really getting in touch with my inner Gabe.
That's okay. Sometimes you just got Gabe out. I totally understand. Would you want to have a quick card discussion about what each of the cards that have been revealed do, or do you just want to skip it?
We can, yeah.
Well, we'll just go over them real quick, and I'll go ahead and read this one. This is a Michonne Ruthless Survivor. This is one of the first two that we saw. This is a 5 mana, 3 generic, one black and one green. So Golgari, legendary creature, human warrior, 3/3. When Michonne enters the battlefield, create 2 Walker tokens. That's another weird thing they're doing with this. They are using the term Walker token, which is
think of Planeswalker.
That's true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. But in this context, Walker is a 2/2 zombie. It's the zombie token you've always known. But when this enters the battlefield, you get 2 Walker tokens. As long as Michonne is equipped, she must be blocked if able. Now that's super weird. I don't think Golgari has ever cared about creatures being equipped beyond this one. Can you think of any?
Like any special abilities for creatures having equipment attached to them?
In Golgari.
No, not in Golgari. There's not mono green ones, but there's like a green white one, like the old Miri from the Commander deck.
Right. Yeah.
Think of, but that's white. Like white is the equipment part of that card. They're just completely breaking the color pie. There's other cards that do that in this Secret Lair.
Right. And she has a third ability. Whenever Michonne and at least 2 zombies attack, she gains indestructible until end of turn. It's very flavorful. I mean, obviously this is Michonne. You just read the abilities and who this is. It seems just like such a weird thing, like Golgari caring about equipment. You have to attack with zombies, and then she just gets indestructible as a 3/3 for 5. Luckily I don't think this is going to make the jump to Legacy.
Oh, absolutely not. No, I don't think this would even be playable in Modern. I mean, look at the pretty shitty kitty committee from Amonkhet. Never really saw play. This Regal Crackle, that's the name of the card. I don't understand why these were Walker tokens, because all of the abilities that reference them, both on this and on the other card that references them, just synergize with zombies. There's nothing that requires the tokens to be walkers, so they could have just been zombie tokens.
Yeah, that's very interesting. That's what they decided to do. So we also got a second card spoiled with the announcement. This is Negan the Cold Blooded. This is a two. It's also 5 mana, 2 generic, and then Mardu colors: 1 red, 1 white, and 1 black. Legendary creature, human rogue. Hey, rogues are all the rage these days, so you can slot this right into your new historic rogue deck. And he is a 4/3. When Negan enters the battlefield, you and target opponent each secretly choose a creature that player controls. Then those choices are revealed, and that player sacrifices those creatures. So you play Negan, you and your opponent both choose a creature that your opponent controls, and then it's like a game. Are you both going to choose the same creature, or are you going to pick the same, and then you kind of lose that ability to have 2 sacrificed? That is interesting on its own. But then it also has, just as a stack ability, whenever an opponent sacrifices a creature, you create a treasure token. So, you can build this as a commander that focuses on having your opponent sacrifice their own stuff, and you get a special thing about that. Again, I think this is very flavorful. Like, everyone, maybe you don't, Frederick, but everyone knows the very classic scene with Negan where he, has the baseball bat and picks somebody from the party or protagonist. Does this seem really flavorful to you?
Yeah. The other thing is this is a really cool, mechanically unique effect that would have been neat on a card in an actual set. This would play fun in standard. It's like a fact or fiction for getting rid of creatures. It's like a sort of within game. It just sucks that it's on this card in the Secret Lair.
Yeah, I actually think that the first part of his ability is really cool, and I would love to see it on a quote real card. But so we have Negan, that's interesting. We also have Glenn. Didn't you say that a Daryl card was spoiled? Is that I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's Gruel. It's 2, a red and a green for a 4/4. At the beginning of your upkeep, target opponent creates 3 walkers. You can tap to deal 2 damage to target creature, and whenever a zombie an opponent controls dies, you draw a card.
Okay, that's and you said this was a bear. It costs 2 mana?
No, it's a 4 mana 4/4. Sorry.
4 mana 4/4. Okay, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, it's Gruel. It's 2 and a red and a green.
Oh, okay, I see.
It's obviously a commander card. You give someone the 3 zombies to make friends with them.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, then you kill them to draw cards slowly while they're doing whatever they're going to do with them. It's a commander card, whatever.
No, I don't think this one will make it to Legacy. Although, again, very flavorful. So I guess they got that going for them. But I think the one that everyone is most concerned about right now is Glenn. Glenn, the Voice of Calm. This is 3 mana, and this is the last one that we have so far. 3 mana, 1 generic, 1 white, and 1 blue. So in Azorius, legendary creature, Human Advisor. So for those sweet advisor tribal decks. He's a 1/3, and he has Skulk. Which we haven't seen in a while. This creature can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. But hey, glad to see it back. Glad to see that's not just permanently in the trash bin. And then whenever Glenn deals combat damage to a player, draw cards equal to his power. So as a 1/3, he's going to swing in, hopefully not be blocked, and then normally would hit, deal 1 damage, and you draw a card. Of course, that opens you up to shenanigans where you can pump his power or do other things. People are saying that this one is the closest that comes to Legacy play. I don't really see it, but I think people are going to try to play this in Legacy just to make a point about how they want these cards in Legacy. Would you play this?
No, not in Legacy. I mean, it's like a shitty Hate Bears creature that you can discard that you can pitch to Force of Will. People pointed out that you can pitch it to Force of Will, but
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so that's all the Walking Dead cards we have. I think there's a few more that are going to be spoiled on the Talking Dead, which for those of you who don't know, that's the talk show that happens after they show a new episode, and they kind of do a reactions and discussion about the show. I believe on the 4th, the first day that this Walking Dead Secret Lair will be available, you can tune in and see the entire contents of the Secret Lair. And I'm sure we'd probably get a little glimpse of it before then.
Well, I thought this was it. Are there more cards coming?
I don't know. My understanding is that there are more that have not been spoiled, and that the full spoiler would come out on the 4th during the Talking Dead or earlier that day. So I think there's more. I mean, surely they're going to make a Rick Grimes card, right? If they've got Glenn and they got Michonne, there's got to be a Rick Grimes too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's all the cards we have. I think we've made our opinions on this pretty clear. Nothing too no super hot takes here, except for Frederick's of just banning new cards and it all just being reprints from here on out.
Yeah, I'm sorry I've been so negative this episode. Like, this is just really shitty news. Do you want to talk about the Uro banning?
No, let's save that for another one. I think we've gotten all of our anger and frustration out about this one, and we can finally move on to the next stage of grief, bargaining, where we just scream at wizards over Twitter about how dare you do this?
Yeah.
And then we'll finally get to acceptance. But I think that's it for this episode. Thank you for listening to Gut Shot, home of the absolute spiciest MTG hot takes. I'm Will at Aggressive Rhetoric.
And I'm Frederick at Warcrime Zoo on Twitch. This has been Gut Shot, the only Magic the Gathering podcast that preys on your FOMO.